Welcome to episode 19 of Behind the Shield. Today we talk to Spartan head men's basketball coach Matt Hunter. Hello again, everybody. Scott Geis joining you for another episode of Behind the Shield. Today we talked to Coach Hunter about all things Spartan basketball, what they're doing right now during quarantine, how his guys are getting by, and we kind of look back on the success of the last couple years and then also the academic success of his Spartan program. So after this commercial break, we'll be back with Coach Matt Hunter. Welcome back to episode 19 of Behind the Shield. Today, joined by head basketball coach Matt Hunter. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me be part of this. It's been awesome to listen to and follow throughout the summer here.
It's certainly been a lot of fun for me, and it's a way to see everybody, which, as you know, we haven't seen each other very much at all. So. Yeah. First question that we ask everybody: how's quarantine going with three kids at home, and you get to be Mr. Dad? How does that work?
Yeah, it's in a lot of ways it's been fun. I've obviously spent more time at home since March than probably my entire married life, and then certainly with the kids and running around since we've been here at York. So it's been fun and just trying to be a really good dad and take care of those guys and allow them to still have some fun kind of within the parameters that we have to live by right now.
So normally at this point in time, you and Coach Showers would be out on the road doing a lot of recruiting. You haven't been out. How different has that been for you to deal with the recruiting aspect when essentially it's almost non-existent right now?
Yeah, it is. It's crazy to think about. I have not been in a gym since we lost in the second round of the NCAA tournament. And I was writing that out to someone the other day, and it's just that's mind blowing to me. That's the longest time I haven't touched a basketball or been in a gym since, I don't know, I was 7 or 8 and started playing as a little kid. And so it's kind of crazy to think about. And from the recruiting standpoint, I love it. I love the human interaction piece of it, and that's kind of what we're missing right now, And so yeah, we missed the big tournaments in April that have been a lot of fun here over the last couple of years, and then certainly this time of year is a whirlwind between running our own camps and getting out to tournaments and recruiting camps all over the Mid-Atlantic region. So. I guess certainly, I don't know, Annie has either liked it or disliked it because I've been home a lot more. But it's that interaction with recruits and their families is something that I really desire right now. And hopefully soon we can get back to that environment where it's safe to do those type of things.
Well, and also you're a big sports fan, so there's not even anything really to watch on TV other than an occasional golf tournament here and there. That just That's been tough for me. I'm used to being able to plop down and watch a baseball game, watch a basketball game. How has that changed? Like, it's just completely different.
Yeah, well, there's basically never television on at my house. It's wild. Um, I am looking forward to Tiger playing a little golf this afternoon, and get that on. I love that tournament to begin with, and certainly anything with him playing is fun. So I wish that the PGA Tour was kind of had it on all day today, like it was the Masters or something. But it has been unique because we do watch a lot of sports. I mean, that's the environment I grew up in. At my house, we had the Yankees on at 7:05 every night,
Yeah.
and so it's a little different down here. You can't watch the Yankees, but you can, no basketball to watch, and the TBT was cool. You got to see a little bit of hoops, and hopefully, again, everything kind of trends the right direction in over the next few weeks, and we have a gluttony of sports to watch in August here as we get ready to come back to school.
Yeah, and September could be a gold mine with some of the stuff that they've moved. They've moved to this to September. So, well, let's look back at last year. Obviously, a fantastic year, capped really a 3-year run with that group of seniors that was outstanding. What was one of the things that made last year so special with this group?
Just the guys that we're doing it with, and over the course of 4 years, you develop some really close relationships. And, it's always about, I guess, the people first and the way you go through it. And every season is 100% different than the last. And, so that there's never like I don't think there's a blueprint for how to lay it all out, because things happen throughout the way, and you just kind of got to adjust and working with relationships and people, and it's just so much fun. And we've been able to get ourselves on these little runs come the right time of the year over the last couple seasons, and it's just been kind of some magical rides.
You've had some really special kids over the course of your career at York. Obviously, we could list them all, but what made this last year's group of seniors so special to you in particular?
Yeah, I mean, they were around us for so long. It was kind of the first group that had really all committed really early, and so we felt, it wasn't 4 years that they were part of our program. It was really like a full 5 years, and so we just had really long, strong relationships with those guys, and again, it's that connection piece between coach and player, and then the way that those four guys clearly felt about each other, and the amount of time that they spent together, and kind of watching them grow and develop as individuals over the 4 years, but certainly as a group, and watching that kind of happen was a lot of fun.
It also seems they were a group that took what you're selling in terms of culture, really bought into it, and then were able to spread it out. How important is that component of players understanding, one, what you want from them as players, but then them also being able to get other guys to be able to buy into what you're trying to sell in terms of culture?
Yeah, I would say that's kind of the be all end all with being successful. I mean, we've been fortunate enough. We've won a lot of games here over the last 3 years, and I would tell you that it has very little to do with me and a lot to do with the players that we have in our program and their willingness to sacrifice themselves and little bits and pieces that came with them in order to fit into who we are and who we want to be as Spartans. And that has allowed us to kind of have this kind of mushroom effect where it just kind of 1 year builds on top of the next, and it went from, you graduating Dalton, Blade, and Matt, and there's no way that they can win again, to, Jason becoming an All-American, and then Jared becoming an All-American, and the guy, it just kind of keeps turning over, and you do it different ways, basketball wise. But that philosophy of who we are has not changed. And the players have done an incredible job of embracing that opportunity to compete and kind of wear a bit of a chip on our shoulder about who we are and what we stand for. And watching it become kind of, I guess, coaching staff led to player led over the course of the last 4 or 5 years has it's been awesome to see. But that also has what then is transferred to winning at the level that we have.
Is it easier for you now to be able to recruit the kind of kid you want? Because you have a pretty good identity in terms of who our guys are, what our guys are. Does that make it easier easier to identify kids that you want to recruit now?
I don't think it ever gets easy. I think what we have done a good job of is identifying Spartans. I'm not very creative, so that's what we call it. And just like you said, the guys that fit, and maybe that's allowed us to recruit the right people at maybe a higher rate, because we do focus. You can watch a kid play, and in less than a quarter of a camp game, okay, this is a guy that can really help us, and this is how he would fit. And okay, but it takes all that other time and all that other effort to determine, okay, this guy is a Spartan. He's going to be willing to sacrifice, X, Y, and Z to be a part of our program. He's going to be willing to compete absolutely as hard as he can everywhere. I guess I'm a big believer that it never turns off. Once you're a Spartan, you're always a Spartan, and that doesn't matter whether it's the first practice of the year or a championship game or a history class at 8 a.m. on a Wednesday. We're always trying to be the best version of ourselves that we can. And so identifying those guys that are going to be willing to kind of live that life, that's the challenge. That's the beauty of it all. And I would say that, we have been able to identify those guys, but a lot of it comes back again to the work of our players, and them getting to know recruits when they come to campus, and spending time with guys and going to class and eating with them and doing those types of things away from the court. And you kind of find out, okay, coach, this guy fits who we are, and we'd love to have him be part of our program. And we kind of all know what it means to be a Spartan and how special that is. And, so again, I defer all that credit goes to our players and the way that they handle themselves and communicate with each other.
Is that an important thing when the players meet the recruit, that there is a sense of feedback that they give you, hey, this kid would be great, or hey, maybe this isn't our kind of guy? Does that come into play during the recruiting process?
Yeah, that chemistry piece within our team is what has kind of created that the culture that has created that. We've developed like kind of a iron will about us. And if you don't have, to steal PJ Fleck, right, everybody in the boat rowing the same direction, it's not going to work. And, we're asking guys to come in and play in different roles than they have, and asking really talented players to subvert themselves for the good of the group and do things maybe they haven't been asked to do before. You got to have guys that are willing to believe in each other first. And that belief in each other then kind of leads to them believing in the messaging as a whole.
So I'm going to steal some stats that you gave me because you were doing some research because you had some time. But our Our wins over the last 3 years, eighth in the country in terms of total number of wins. And we are one of 5 teams, correct, that have made the second round of the NCAA tournament in the last 3 years. Certainly a lot of success and a lot of really good things. As we turn the page into next year and we're getting ready to head into the MAC, how is that gonna play out? You know, as we've clearly lost 4 really good players, but we still have some good guys coming back as well. What do you look forward to as we head into the MAC next year?
Yeah, so there's kind of two pieces there, right? Is the first thing is absolutely none of that matters. You know, it's awesome to talk about, and it certainly has been an incredible run, and you know, to put us up there with some of those other teams and programs and coaches across the country is awesome for your college. But when you go into next year, means absolutely nothing. And it's now, you know, everything we've just been talking about and getting 16 guys on the same page and willing to compete as hard as they can every single day to get better and to improve themselves so that the group continues to improve. And it becomes about them and, you know, on their shoulders, and the development of our internal leadership as a program has been awesome. And those guys understand what it takes, you know. So I think the one part that does carry over from one year to the next is the older guys now have an understanding of what's required in order to win at that level. Because when you're a freshman, you know absolutely nothing, you know, and so you come in and you're used to what you have been doing. And then over the course of the year, you learn how to kind of make the adjustments in the classroom, socially, and on the court to fit into who we are. But now as sophomores, those guys have a way better idea, a greater understanding of what's required. So this summer, they know what they need to do, and that transfers over into the fall and eventually into the winter. But the guys that are juniors and seniors have now had a tremendous amount of success and experienced that. And so it's 2 parts. They understand it, and they don't want to be the group that it stops with, you know. So, you know, the guys that are going to be seniors in any given year, like, it becomes that much more important. Like, hey, we're not going to be the group that ends the run, you know. So they become the guys that hold people accountable to that championship level standard, and it just kind of feeds upon itself. That had nothing to do with going into the MAC, but that's kind of what.
That's okay.
Answer to the first part of it.
That's completely fine.
Yeah, so going in the MAC is going to be awesome, you know, and it's a great challenge for us. You know, we have to learn a bunch of new teams and new coaches and new gyms, and there's so much that is going to be different about our upcoming season in every way possible, I guess. And this is just something that will add to that challenge. And I know that our players are embracing that and looking forward to it. And it's great, you know, not only for our program, but it's awesome across the whole department.
As a coaching staff, you're obviously going to have a team that looks a lot different to people on the outside. You know, we have a lot of guys coming back, you know, but people are going to look and say, you know, they lost the 4 really good seniors. They're not going to be as good. Do you get the sense that guys are just kind of getting excited to get their opportunity to get on the floor more minutes and be able to contribute in the way that they're capable of doing? Is that something where guys are just, they're kind of ready to go and excited?
Absolutely. You know, I think from the outside, you know, people have been looking for that drop off to come each of the last couple of years, you know, and on the inside, we have players that are kind of burning by that. And we definitely are like a chip on the shoulder type group. And use that kind of stuff as fuel. And everything that you just said, our guys internalize and burn, and it creates the fire within us. You know, kind of that underdog or overlooked mentality. And just because players are willing to sacrifice themselves for the group, doesn't mean that they don't want more, you know, and that's perfectly okay, you know. So as each group graduates, new roles are created, you know. It's not like you're locked into something as a freshman and you have to do that for 4 years, you know. So players understand that, and you know, we focus really hard on individual development and individual improvement. And okay, that now sitting down in March, okay, this is what is going to be expected of you next year, and it's going to be a little bit different. Here's how you get from, you know, March to October. And you know, guys continue to work and develop and challenge themselves to improve so that we can uphold the standard that has been set.
I was just thinking this as you were talking, and I couldn't help it. I want to get your thoughts on it. If we would have beaten Mount Union, we would have been on a bus or probably in Dayton or around the Dayton area when the season got canceled. How much more difficult would that have been? Obviously, it would have been great to beat Mount Union, but how challenging would it have been to have your season just end at the Sweet 16?
Yeah, that would have been one of the worst days of my professional life. You know, I really feel bad for the coaches and teams that had to go through that. You know, looking back on the way our season ended, you know, we had a great run. It was really exciting for everybody involved, but you want to see your seniors that spent so much time and effort, and it grows and develops, and 1 year lays on top of another, go out the best way possible. And for them to kind of go out on their shield, so to speak, since this is behind the shield, you know.
Yes, that's a good tie-in.
You know, it ended up kind of being, I don't know, maybe the best loss we've ever had, because there was like a conclusion to it. If I had to call those 4 guys into my hotel room as we were preparing, and they thought they were coming in to watch some film or something, and I had to tell them that their careers were over, I get goosebumps just thinking about it now. I don't know how coaches did it. That would have been really difficult, and you know, to kind of get back on the bus and turn around and come home would not have been very, very fun. We enjoy the opportunity to compete as much as anybody. And, you know, some days it's not your day. And it certainly wasn't our day in the second round.
Yeah, they played. That was a very good basketball team.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah. So let's look forward. Obviously, there's a lot of uncertainty with what's going on and what's going on moving forward. How does this affect your guys' ability to prepare? Or is it pretty much these guys are able to work on their own, do individual things to get ready to make themselves better? How has your team been handling this period of time as we get ready to hopefully go back to school in August?
Yeah, the summer's not altogether all that different. You know, at the Division III level, it's not like we're bringing them in. You know, I think the Division I guys can start now, you know, and start doing some small group stuff. And we don't have that opportunity, you know. So our guys are scattered for the summer, doing their own thing regardless. And I would say that this summer that they probably have less to do than usual. So hopefully, you know, we've embraced that opportunity to really work. Now, do they have some limitations, you know, as far as where they can go and when they can go and who they can be there with? Yes. But I fully believe in our players' willingness to compete and understanding of what needs to be done to improve, so that they are working their tails off. You know, they can be in great shape, you know, regardless of kind of what they have access to right now. And, that was kind of our focus, just do what you can do to be in the best shape of your life. And at some point, you're going to be allowed to get on a gun somewhere and start shooting again. And, depending on where they live, they're working with trainers and back in the weight room and doing some of that type of stuff. So limited, yes. All that different right now, no. The one thing that we did miss that's been a blast for us as a program is running our summer camps. And we've had so many guys be able to come back for a week or 2 weeks and work those camps and spend time together. And yeah, they work out and they play pickup and they do that kind of stuff as well. But it's just kind of cool to see everybody and check in and see how everybody's doing. So we certainly missed that opportunity this summer. But again, it afforded guys the opportunity to step up as leaders and communicators and connectors within our team that maybe haven't filled those roles before. And, there's a lot less guys that have jobs right now. So there's a lot more time to
work out,
to go out and run or find a hoop somewhere and do what you need to do.
All right. One last topic for today. And I think you've kind of touched on it before, but, the NABC came out yesterday with an academic award. You have 5 guys earn individual honors. And then as a team, you got a team award as well. Talk about the combination of athletics and academics with your team. And I think you touched on it earlier with the culture and doing everything great and being a great Spartan. How important is that to you, not only with your own kids, but when you're talking to recruits and parents to let them know, hey, you're not just an athlete here at York, but you're also going to be a really good student?
Yeah. It's another thing that ultimately falls down on kind of the individual decision-making of our players. But it proves that they're doing what they need to do in order to be successful. And they have challenged themselves in the classroom just as they challenge themselves in the gym. And it's something that we talk about from the very first time we meet as a family, at a recruiting basis, and talk about, that it is important. And we've had guys go through, we've won the NABC team award every year. And we have guys taking the hardest majors on campus and getting awesome grades. And it just proves that you can do both at a really, really high level. You can be a mechanical engineer like Darren or be in biology like Joe and, get awesome grades and get better over the course of your 4 years and be recognized. Those guys had the opportunity to be recognized both of the last 2 years. And so it's cool. I'm not big individual recognition. That's not something that I believe in. And, again, we sacrifice. But it is neat, for the older guys, all 5 of them, to kind of have their names and lights there for everybody to see, for the right reasons. And, they were tremendously successful. They did a lot of hard work to get to that point. And again, that just builds on the standard of what it means to be a Spartan. And, next year we'll have 8 guys kind of have the opportunity to be on that list. And, it kind of defines, okay, this is something that's important and we want to keep it moving forward.
Talk real quick about their performance this spring, because clearly, they got thrown into a situation that nobody was ready for in terms of the online learning. And you guys, what was it, a 3.61 in the spring? How proud of you were you with them for that?
Yeah, it was obviously, what we're going through right now has presented unique challenges to us all, whether it's me as a father of 3 little kids or you as a father of 2 older kids, or my parents who have only grandkids but they just moved, so it's presented unique challenges to everyone across the world. And when there's challenges, it's kind of it's creates opportunity, I guess. So we could have stuck our heads in the sand and, kind of woe is me it through the semester. but our players rose to the challenge and did an incredible job. Absolutely dominated the semester, and certainly that number is one that I don't know if we can ever touch it again. That it's pretty cool to see them put the semester together again, taking some of the hardest classes on campus and really getting it done at a high level.
Well, Matt, thank you for joining us. It was a lot of fun. I'm hoping that we get to see each other in person much sooner than later. I hope we get to see all of our coaches much sooner than later, because I went into the coaches suite the other day to grab something, and it's a ghost town, and it is strange. And I'm ready for it to be buzzing with some people and hopefully some student athletes here soon and get back on the train. So thanks a lot for taking the time to join us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on, and wish everybody well. And we'll be back in Wolf Gym here soon enough.
Sounds great. Thanks, Matt.
At York College, we are proud of the fact that we have over 30 cultures and 30 countries represented among our campus community. We not only are proud of that fact, we celebrate the unique perspective and differences that each and every person on this campus brings to us. So on behalf of all of us at York College, I want you to know that you are welcomed here.
Tu eres bienvenido aquí. Vous êtes bien reçu ici. You're very welcome here.
You are welcome here.
You are welcome here.
Você está bem-vindo aqui.
You are welcome here.
You are welcome here.
You are welcome here.
You're welcome here.
معكم رقية آل الشيخ من كلية يورك في بنسلفانيا. أنتم مرحب بكم هنا. We are welcome.
From day one at York College of Pennsylvania, you are welcome here.
I want to thank Coach Hunter for joining us today. It was a lot of fun catching up with him, and it's hard to believe he hasn't been in a gym since March when we lost in the NCAA tournament. So certainly a new time and new adjustments for him. I know he's chomping at the bit to get back and be with his guys and back in the gym as the Spartans get ready for the 2021 season, their first in the MAC. So it's a lot of excitement growing around the men's basketball program, and we thank him for taking the time to join us today. We'll be back on Friday with an interview with David Giuliani, junior forward, I guess now senior forward for the Spartans, and talk about his great year that he had last year and what he's looking forward to as a senior in the green and white. So until we meet next time, stay healthy, stay safe, and go Spartans.